So Sarah and I, high still, totally exhausted, haven't eaten, probably haven't had a glass of water in like 24 hours. There's so much snow. We know we're fucked.
I'm Sarah. I'm Tegan. We're in the band Sarah and Tegan.
No, it's called Tegan and Sarah.
And this is what it's like to take acid at a rave in the 1990s.
We had been going to raves, but we had a curfew of 1 a.m. And the raves didn't really get going until that time. So we were allowed to go, but then we had to leave whatever rave we were at to get home for curfew. There was this huge rave that everybody was going to go to. All of our friends were going and they were going to stay all night. And everyone was like, you have to just lie to your mom.
And the approach that we took was to tell her, okay, we're not going to go to the rave. We're going to sleep over at Krista's house.
That's right.
Now, Krista was our shared best friend, but was actually, more importantly for this story, was my secret girlfriend. We get our acid, we go over to Krista's.
We go to Krista's.
And we were like doing our hair, clothes. We had
36-inch waist, wide leg, Jinko Raver pants, 3 layers, including a gigantic hoodie. I had 2 chains, a plastic and a metal chain that went down below my knee.
We go downstairs, we say goodbye to Krista's parents. We had to take the bus to this rave. We're in dead of winter in Calgary, minus 15 degrees Celsius.
double-digit negatives.
Each stop, a bunch of other kids that are obviously going to the rave get on the bus. Like you start seeing like the weird kids with crazy haircuts and crazy clothes, and we're probably 15 to 30 minutes away from the rave. It feels like it's safe to drop. And then we get to the door and we get inside and it's just huge. This rave is so much bigger than any other rave we've ever been to. There was like house DJs that were in like sort of smaller spaces, and then there was like the kind of drum and bass, it sounds like a jackhammer to me kind of.
Even if you didn't know anyone in that room, everybody was so warm and excited.
Probably because everyone was on ecstasy.
And another one of our friends, Shannon, was there. We ran into each other, and I remember I was dancing and one of them tapped me on the back. I'll never forget it. They were like, "You're such a good dancer." And I remember like this like intense wave of like joy and feeling so connected to all these people. The connection and love and vibe that we felt by going to these spaces, that were filled full of alternative people and people who were experimenting with gender, sexuality, and embracing all these different kinds of music within the same space. It was very liberating.
And there was this heightened sense that I was with exactly the people I was supposed to be with. Like we all sort of took on the same shape and the same sort of size, and all those differences that I worried about when I was not stoned, they sort of evaporated and we sort of became like this one big blob.
Because we were so alternative, we thought that it was like terrible to be prejudiced against somebody because of the way they looked or the way they dressed, which I think were like our early and beginning steps into understanding and starting to work through racism and classism and homophobia, like the early kind of, sort of nuggets, the seeds of thinking that way.
I was having a blast right up until the moment they turn the lights on. Everybody looks amazing, and then they turn those fluorescent lights on, and everyone looked like a zombie movie. The magical, warm space was just a shitty warehouse, and there was just slush and dirt and water. Thank goodness we leave. We go back
Krista's parents picked us up.
Yeah, they picked us up at 6 a.m., and we headed back across the city.
We get into the room. I guess they were in a single bed, but Krista goes to sleep. And then
it was Krista's mom. She said, "Your mother is here." And we knew what that meant.
As soon as we got into my mom's van, I knew that she knew, but she pretended she didn't know. And so we drove a few blocks and she was like, "How was your guys' night?" She set the trap for us to lie, and we lied to her. So she catches us in the lie. We know we're fucked.
I know I'm also in the deepest shit I've probably ever been when we turn onto our street, and sitting outside of our house is my dad's work truck. The fact that his truck is parked outside of our house indicates to me that we are in special level of trouble. It is dark. Like, Dad is mad.
Okay, you're not going to be allowed to sleep over at anyone's house for 3 months. You're not allowed to use the phone for the next 2 weeks. Like, they just keep adding things. But then my mom throws down like her final piece of the punishment, and she then says, "You're going to go and do your flyer route."
We were entrusted with like Kmart flyers.
Yeah. Like a flyer route. And so Sarah and I, high still, totally exhausted, haven't eaten, probably haven't had a glass of water in like 24 hours because it was the 90s. Nobody out, and there's so much snow. and we're so cold, and I actually fucking loved it.
It was amazing.
It was so nice. It was like,
get away from our parents talking. We were on opposite sides of the street from each other. It was finally alone. It was like the only thing that even remotely came close to the sort of euphoria of being at the rave. It was just like
beautiful.
silence. And we just really enjoyed it. I had a great time delivering the flyers.
I had a great time. It was the only time I ever actually completed my route.
Yeah.
Tales from the